A bark silenced the mysterious case of the choking Doberman. The silence was the first sign that something was wrong. Usually, Baron the Doberman greeted his owner, Mrs. Emily Carter, with a symphony of barks and excited whimpers. But not tonight. An unsettling stillness hung in the air as she stepped into her quiet house. "Baron!" she called out, her voice echoing in the stillness. She walked further into the house, a sense of unease creeping up her spine. Then she heard it, a muffled gurgling sound coming from the living room. Rushing into the room, her heart pounded in her chest. There, in the dim light, she saw Baron, his powerful body convulsing violently. He was choking, his eyes wide with panic, desperately pawing at his throat. A piece of fabric was lodged in his jaws, cutting off his air supply. Terror gripped Emily's heart. She rushed to her dog's side, her mind racing. "Hold on, boy, hold on!" she cried, frantically trying to pry open his jaws. The fabric wouldn't budge. It was twisted tight, choking the life out of her beloved companion. Frantic dash, a race against time. Every second felt like an eternity as Emily struggled to help Baron. His struggles were growing weaker, his gasps for air more desperate. She knew she had to act fast. Scooping him up in her arms, she raced out the door, his heavy weight a small price to pay for his life. She sped through the deserted streets, the only sound the roar of her car engine and Baron's laboured breathing. The animal hospital, usually a beacon of hope, seemed miles away. "Please hold on," she whispered, tears streaming down her face, her voice thick with fear and desperation. Pulling into the emergency vet's driveway, she nearly slammed into the clinic door. Rushing inside, she cried out for help, her voice raw with panic. The vet techs, alerted by her frantic arrival, rushed to her side, immediately taking Baron from her trembling arms. The vet's orders an eerie command. Emily watched, helpless and terrified, as the vet team worked feverishly on Baron. They managed to remove the fabric, his airway now clear, but he was still unconscious. The vet, his face grim, emerged from the treatment room. "We stabilized him," he said, his voice grave, "but he needs to be monitored closely. He's lost a lot of oxygen." Emily felt a surge of relief, followed by a wave of dread. "What happened?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Why was he choking?" The vet's expression turned serious. "Mrs. Carter," he said slowly, "that piece of fabric. It looks like someone tried to silence him. You need to leave now. Call the police. Don't go home." Blue lights in the darkness, the waiting game. Emily's blood ran cold. Someone had been in her house, had tried to harm Baron. The thought sent shivers down her spine. She fumbled for her phone, her fingers numb, and dialed the emergency services. Her voice shook as she explained the situation, the operator's calm reassurance doing little to ease her fear. She waited at the animal hospital, her anxiety growing with every passing minute. The rhythmic flashing of the blue lights outside the clinic mirrored the frantic beating of her heart. Police officers, their faces grim, entered the clinic and took her statement. Time seemed to crawl by. Emily paced the waiting room, her mind replaying the events of the evening, the image of Baron choking seared into her memory. The silence of her usually boisterous dog, the frantic drive, the vet's grave words. It all felt surreal, a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. The twist loyalty unveiled, a criminal unmasked. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a police officer approached her, a hint of relief in his eyes. "Mrs. Carter," he said, "we found something in your house. Seems Baron did more than just alert you." He explained that in their search they discovered signs of forced entry, a struggle, and then, hiding in a closet, a man unconscious. Baron, despite being choked and weakened, had fought back, biting the intruder on the leg with all his might, knocking him unconscious in the process. The piece of fabric, it was a torn piece of the intruder's shirt ripped off in the struggle. Baron, loyal as ever, had protected his home and his owner, even in his own moment of peril. Beyond the shadows, the enduring power of urban legends. The story of the choking Doberman, like many urban legends, is told and retold, often with slight variations. Some versions claim the dog swallowed a piece of the intruder's clothing, leading to the discovery. Others emphasize the intruder's attempt to poison the dog. Regardless of the specifics, the core narrative remains consistent. A loyal dog facing a hidden danger protects its owner, becoming an unexpected hero. The legend taps into our primal fears of home invasion, the vulnerability we feel in our supposed safe havens. It reassures us of the unwavering loyalty of animals, their sixth sense for danger and their capacity for selfless protection. The fear it evokes is primal, reminding us of the fragility of safety and the comfort we find in the unwavering loyalty of animals. Whether entirely true or embellished through countless retellings, the legend of the choking Doberman continues to resonate, reminding us that sometimes, even in the darkest moments, loyalty and courage can prevail against unseen threats.